If you asked me what happiness looked like a year ago, I would have described my life in one breath. A loving wife. 3 amazing kids. A home that felt warm when you opened the front door, no matter how bad the day had been. Her name was Anna. And for 14 years, she was my everything. We met in college. She was 20, studying literature, with this way of laughing that made people turn their heads. I was a year older, majoring in business, working nights at a warehouse to pay tuition. She used to tease me that I always smelled faintly of coffee and cardboard back then. We got married young, right after graduation. Everyone told us we were rushing, but I didn't care. I knew what I had. We moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment, bought mismatched furniture, and made it ours. Over time, the apartment turned into a house, the 2 of us turned into 5, and life started moving in the rhythm of school drop-offs, Saturday morning pancakes, and bedtime stories. I wasn't rich, but I worked hard. I ran my own small construction company, nothing fancy, but enough to pay the bills, save for the kids' future, and take a family vacation once a year. Anna stayed home when the kids were little, then took a part-time job at a local art gallery when they got older. We had our share of arguments, about money, about the chaos of parenting, about who forgot to take out the trash, but I thought those were just normal bumps in a good marriage. If I'd known what was coming, I would have noticed more. I would have paid attention to the small shifts. But back then, I thought love, once built, was unshakable. The first crack I can remember appeared on a rainy Tuesday in October. I'd come home early from a job site, hoping to surprise her. The kids were still at school. Anna was in the kitchen, phone in hand, smiling in that small, secret way she used to when she was texting me back when we were dating. I stepped up behind her, kissed her neck, and asked, "Who's making you smile like that?" She laughed, but it was a little too light, a little too careful. "Oh, just work stuff. Our new assistant is hilarious. He keeps messing up the coffee machine." I didn't think much of it at the time. I'd never even met the assistant. From the way she said it, I pictured some clumsy kid barely out of high school who probably couldn't tell espresso from drip coffee.
Up at my place.
Over the next few months, I
Calm.
started hearing about him
No
more.
guilt.
His
No
name was
apology.
Dylan.
She said,
24.
"It just
Fresh
happened.
out of college.
We reconnected. I
Anna
didn't mean to
mentioned
hurt
him in
you.
passing, the
Didn't
way
mean
you
to hurt
mention a
me.
coworker you like.
Then why keep it secret?"
Dylan forgot to order
While out of my
supplies
face
again.
every time I asked.
Dylan wore this ridiculous
told me
tie
she
today.
still cared
You would
about
have
me.
laughed.
That it was
Dylan thinks I'm
complicated.
some kind of computer genius.
That I was a good
because I
guy, but
fixed
she
the
wasn't
printer.
ready.
The
I've
name
heard it all
became
before.
familiar without me even
But this
noticing.
time, it burned deeper.
Then, one night,
Because I
Anna's
had
best
trusted
friend
her with
Claire
the parts of
called
me I usually hide.
It was around 9 p.m.
And she gave them away like they meant nothing.
The kids were already asleep.
I didn't yell.
Anna
didn't
was
cry.
at a late meeting.
I simply
something
opened the
that had
door
started
and told her
happening
to
more
leave.
often in the last 2
She
months.
stood there for a second,
When I picked up,
as if
Claire
expecting
didn't
me to
bother
fight
with small
for her.
talk.
to
Her
beg,
voice was low,
but I didn't.
urgent.
Because I finally
Mark,
understood.
I need to tell you something.
If someone loves you,
You're not going to like it.
they don't treat you like an option.
My stomach dropped.
I blocked her number,
What is it?
erased the photos,
It's Anna.
deleted
I
the
think
chats.
she's having an affair.
But the hurt,
With that assistant of
that stayed
hers.
for a while.
For a few
Not because I
seconds,
missed her,
I just stood there,
but
phone
because I
pressed
missed
to
the
my
person
ear,
I thought she
trying
was.
to make the words make sense.
It's been a few months now,
That's
and
no.
I still catch myself remembering
Claire,
her laugh.
you must be mistaken.
But now it doesn't
I
sting
wish
as
I
much.
was, she said.
Because I know the truth.
But I've seen them.
She chose him.
Twice.
She chose lies.
Outside the gallery, and
She
once
chose
at
to
a
walk
cafe
away from
across
something
town.
honest.
They weren't
And I?
just talking.
I chose peace.
They were close.
I chose healing.
Too close.
Ich chose Misev.
I sat down on the
And next
edge of
time,
the couch, staring
I'll
at the
choose
dark
better.
TV screen in front
Contact.
of me. My
When I
heart
asked
was
her
pounding
directly,
so hard I could hear it
She
in my
just
ears.
froze.
You're
And
sure?
then she whispered,
I asked finally.
I didn't mean for it to happen.
Yes, she said.
My chest
her
went
voice
hollow.
tight. I
She
didn't
told
want
me
to
everything.
tell you, but I can't just
That
watch
it
this
started
happen.
as harmless flirting.
You love her too
That
much
one
to be
night
kept in the
turned
dark.
into a secret.
When we hung
That
up,
guilt
I sat
ate
there
at
for
her,
a long time,
but not enough to
my
stop.
mind looping through images
I
I
felt
didn't want
sick.
to see.
I went to
Anna's
Rachel's
smile.
place later that night.
Dylan's name.
She didn't deny
The way
it.
she'd started wearing
Didn't
more
even look
makeup
surprised.
before work.
Just
The
said,
late
I didn't want to hurt
meetings.
you.
Everything
Funny
that had
how
seemed
people say
harmless
that
now
after
felt
they've
like a
already
puzzle that
shattered
had been
you.
sitting in front of me the whole time.
I
and I'd
left
been
without
too
another
blind to
word.
see the picture forming.
No yelling, no
That
begging.
night, when Anna
Just
came
silence.
home, she kissed me on the
Because
cheek like
sometimes
nothing was
silence
wrong.
says more than pain
She
ever
asked
could.
if the kids had done their
I
homework,
blocked them both.
told me the gallery's new
Deleted
exhibition
photos.
was coming together, and
Erased
went upstairs to
conversations.
shower.
But the
I stood
memories,
there in the kitchen, watching
they
her
stay.
go, wondering how
Not
much of
because
what
I
I
miss them,
believed about my life was
but
real.
because betrayal leaves
I didn't
scars you don't
sleep
see.
much that night.
The hardest
Every
part
time I
wasn't
closed my
losing
eyes,
Rachel.
I saw her with him.
It was
not
losing
in any
Ava.
specific place, but
10
in that
years
way
of friendship,
your mind is
gone.
filling in the blanks you wish you
Like it
didn't
meant
have.
nothing.
By
But pain
morning,
teaches you
I'd made a
things.
decision.
It teaches
I
you
wasn't
who
going
people
to
really
accuse her
are,
without proof.
and who you
But
are
I
when
wasn't going to
everything falls
ignore it
apart.
either. I started paying
It's been
closer
months.
attention.
And
The
I'm
first
healing.
thing I noticed was her phone.
Not perfectly, but honestly.
She'd always left it lying around
I smile
before,
again.
on the counter,
I
on
sleep
the nightstand,
peacefully.
in the living room.
Because I know now.
Now, it
The
was
people meant to
always
love
with
you.
her.
Don't
She
leave
kept
cracks
it
in your
face
soul.
down, and she'd glance
They don't
at
lie.
it when it buzzed, then
They don't
put
betray.
it away quickly.
They stay.
Then there were the
And
extra
one day,
shifts at the gallery.
someone will stay.
Before Dylan,
But until
she'd
then,
never stayed later than 6 o'clock.
I stay with myself.
Now, there
And
were
that
nights
I've
she didn't
learned
come home until nearly
is
9
enough.
o'clock. I asked about it once. She said they were reorganizing inventory. In the evenings? I asked. That's when it's quiet, she replied without missing a beat. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. I loved her more than anything. We had 3 kids, 2 boys, 9 and 11, and our little girl, just turned 6. They adored their mother. The idea of shattering that world for them felt unbearable. But the idea of living a lie felt worse. 2 weeks later, I got my proof. It wasn't through a private investigator or catching them in the act. It was something much simpler. Claire texted me. They're at the Lakeside Inn. Room 14. Right now. I didn't even reply. I just grabbed my keys and drove. When I got there, I saw her car in the parking lot. And next to it, a silver Honda I'd never seen before, probably his. I didn't go inside. I didn't knock on the door. I just stood there in the cold, looking at her car, knowing what was happening a few feet away. It was the longest 30 minutes of my life. When she finally came out, she wasn't alone. Dylan was with her. They were laughing about something, and she touched his arm like it was the most natural thing in the world. She didn't see me. I let them drive off before I got back in my truck. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely turn the key. When I got home, the kids were in the living room, playing video games. I forced myself to smile and ask them about their day. I didn't want them to see the storm inside me. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling like the ground under my feet had been pulled away. The woman I'd built my life with. The mother of my children. The person I'd trusted more than anyone. I didn't know what the next step was. But I knew one thing for sure. Nothing would ever be the same. The next morning, I told myself I'd confront her calmly, without shouting. But when I finally stood in front of Anna and said the words, her reaction wasn't guilt. It was something much worse, and it made me realize I hadn't even begun to understand the person she'd become. I woke before dawn and watched the light claw its way across our bedroom ceiling. For a long time I listened to the small sounds of the house, the hum of the refrigerator, the heater kicking on, the creak in the hallway outside our room when the ducts expand. I had always loved those sounds. They were proof of a life running, ordinary, dependable, ours. At 6:30, alarms started chirping. The boys would be up soon, our little girl after them, hair a mess, blanket dragged behind her like a cape. I had maybe 20 minutes before breakfast chaos began. 20 minutes to decide whether I was going to light the fuse or tuck the match back into the drawer and pretend I'd imagined the smoke. I chose the match. Anna was in the bathroom, steam curling under the door. When she came out, towel wrapped around her, she smiled the kind of smile you give a cashier, polite, automatic, empty. "Morning," she said. Anna, I said, and my voice came out steadier than I felt. We need to talk. Now. She paused, blinked, and then something passed over her face. A flicker of calculation. She set the towel on the bed, slid into a robe, and sat down on her side like it was a stage she knew by heart. "What's up?" she asked lightly. "I was at the lakeside last night," I said. "I saw your car." "I saw him." Silence. The kind that absorbs sound. The bathroom fan kept humming. A truck down the street rattled past. In our room, my words hung there, heavy and irrefutable. I watched her pupils narrow, then settle. A beat. 2. She drew a slow breath and tucked hair behind one ear. "Okay," she said, folding her hands in her lap. Not a flinch. Not a single tear. "I wondered when you'd find out." Not guilt. Not even surprise. Resignation, almost. And beneath it, something hard. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means," she said carefully, "that I haven't been happy for a long time, Mark." Heat surged up my neck. "So your answer is Dylan? A 24-year-old assistant?" She didn't look away. "My answer was trying to talk to you for years. You were always too tired, or too busy, or too focused on the business. We became roommates. Parents. Not partners." I stared at her. The words were familiar, bits of past arguments, nagging observations. But here, now, they felt like tools she'd slid out of a drawer and polished for this moment. "That's your justification?" I said. "You felt neglected, so you went to him?" "I'm not justifying," she said. "I'm explaining." I laughed once, short and ugly. "Explain it to our kids." Her jaw tightened. For the first time, something like guilt flashed across her face, then vanished. She stood, went to the dresser, and pulled a sweater over the robe like armor. "We are not doing this before school," she said, voice flattening. "Whatever this is, we will do it like adults. Not in front of them." A small part of me was grateful for that line. The rest of me bristled. "When," I asked, "did it start?" She looked at the window, then back. "A few months ago." "How many months?" "Does it matter?" "It matters to me," I said, and my voice cracked. 5, she said. 6. "I don't know." "You know," I said. She held my gaze. 5. "Was it only him?" She hesitated just long enough. "Yes," she said. "And you would have told me when?" "After you got bored?" "After he did?" "Don't," she said sharply. "Don't make him the villain so you don't have to ask what you stopped giving me." There it was. Not guilt. Blame. Before I could answer, small feet pattered down the hall. Our daughter pushed the door open, face bright. "Daddy," she said. "Can I have pancakes?" I swallowed a mouthful of fire and turned, crouching to her level. "You got it, Peanut," I said, forcing a smile. "Go brush your teeth. I'll start the batter." She ran off. I stood, lightheaded. "This isn't over," I said. "It never is," she said. Breakfast was a play we'd rehearsed 1,000 times. The boys argued about syrup. Our daughter wanted chocolate chips. I flipped pancakes, poured juice, made lunches, kissed heads. Anna moved around the kitchen perfectly normal, humming as if nothing had shifted under our feet. Twice our eyes met, twice she looked away first. When the kids finally trooped out to the bus stop with their backpacks and bad jokes, the house exhaled. The quiet after they leave is usually a bomb. Today it scraped. Anna leaned on the counter, arms folded. "So," she said. "So," I echoed. She spoke to the window over the sink. I'm not going to grovel. I'm not going to perform tears until you decide I've suffered enough. I made choices. I'll live with them. You broke your vows, I said. She nodded once. Yes. You broke my heart. Another nod. No apology. And you lied to our kids, I said. To their faces. Something flickered. They don't know, Mark. They will, I said. Because this, I gestured to the space between us, doesn't fit in a drawer. It will spill into everything. She stared at the sink. We can be discreet. We can separate quietly. We can tell them it's mutual. Mutual, I repeated, tasting the word like bad fruit. You want me to sign my name to your choices so the story goes down easier. I want to minimize damage, she said. Minimize whose? Everyone's. I shook my head. Not how damage works. We stood there for a long few seconds. Finally I said, do you love him? Her mouth pressed into a line. I don't know. Do you love me? She looked at me then, fully. And for a heartbeat I saw the girl in the college library who'd stolen my pencil and then my name. Then it was gone. I love the life we built, she said. I love our children. I love the idea of who we were. Not an answer. Or maybe the only one she had. I picked up my keys. I'm taking some time, I said. You'll pick up the kids. I'll be back before dinner. Where are you going? To remember how to breathe, I said, and walked out before the kitchen knew what to do with my absence. I drove with no destination, letting the town unfold, the hardware store where I buy screws by the carton, the park where we taught the boys to ride bikes, the school where our daughter will one day decide I'm embarrassing. I ended up in the parking lot of the church we only go to on Christmas Eve, sitting in the truck with my hands at 10 and 2 like I was still moving. My phone buzzed. Claire. Are you okay? She asked without hello. No. I'm sorry, she said. I hated making that call. I still hate it. You did the right thing, I said. I needed the truth. She was quiet, then, what now? Now I keep the kids safe, I said. And I don't set the house on fire. Good, she said. You're a good dad. You always have been. I closed my eyes, felt tears threaten, held the line. Can I ask you something? When did you suspect? A sigh. A while. I thought it was a crush. I told her to cut it off. She laughed it off. Then I saw them. I told her to tell you. She said you'd overreact. Claire spat the word like it offended her mouth. Overreact, I said. Right. I shouldn't be telling you what she said, Claire added. I'm not trying to pour salt. Tell me, I said. If I'm going to hurt, it might as well be honest. She said you never notice her anymore. She said you talk about joists and bids and the kids' schedules and you forgot how to look at her. I told her that's marriage sometimes, that it comes and goes, and you choose each other anyway. She stared at me like I'd suggested prison. I let the silence expand until it felt like it might crack. I'll be here for the kids, Claire said. Whatever you need. Rides, meals, nights off. I mean it. I know you do, I said. And Mark? Yeah. She's making choices that have nothing to do with your worth. Don't let her rewrite the story. After we hung up, I sat there until the ache settled into something dense and heavy, like a brick in my chest. Then I drove to my sister's house. Jenna opened the door, took one look at me, and pulled me into a hug that unlocked something I didn't know I was guarding. When I told her, she said, I'm so angry. And I'm not going to say the thing where I tell you it will all be okay, because right now it's not. Thanks, I said, surprised at how much that honesty steadied me. I can take the kids Saturday, she said. We'll do a movie. We'll do anything. Whatever you need. I nodded. I don't know what to tell them. Not today, she said gently. Today you breathe. Tomorrow you start the paperwork. And when the time is right, we tell them the truth they can handle. The paperwork. The practical part of heartbreak. I had built a business. I understood contracts, plans, contingencies. The thought of applying that brain to my own marriage made me want to throw up. And yet, structure is what keeps buildings from falling. I needed structure now more than ever. I called a lawyer. A friend of a friend. A calm voice that said words like dissolution, custody, temporary orders. He asked me to gather documents. He asked for a timeline. I told him about the inn, the dates, the not-quite confession. Don't blow up, he said. Not in texts, not on social media. Be the grown-up. Judges like grown-ups. And your kids need one. I can do that, I said, unsure and determined. When I got home, the house smelled like something rich simmering. Anna was chopping onions, sleeves rolled. She looked up, stiffened, then kept chopping. This is surreal, I said. What is? Watching you cook like we didn't just decide to end our marriage. She set the knife down and leaned on the counter. We didn't decide anything yet. You didn't, I said. She closed her eyes. What do you want me to say? The truth, I said. Which is, it's over. She opened her eyes. Is it? Yes. We stared at each other across a gulf that used to be a kitchen island. That night, after the kids went to bed, I moved into the guest room with a pillow and a numb set of hands. Our daughter appeared in the doorway 10 minutes later, blanket in her arms. Daddy, she whispered, are you sleeping in here now? For a little while, I said. Just until the dust settles. What dust? She asked. Grown-up dust, I said, and forced a smile. It's boring. She climbed on the bed and curled against my side. Can I stay until I fall asleep? Yes. I lay there listening to her breathing, feeling the weight of her trust on my chest. I promised myself that whatever happened, my children would not be casualties. They would be the point. The days that followed were a study in controlled collapse. Anna and I spoke in low voices, in doorways, in parking lots during school pickup. We laid out schedules on a legal pad like it was any other project. Monday, Wednesday, Friday dinners. Tuesday, Thursday bath time. Weekends alternating. Our little one wanted 2 stories instead of 1. The boys wanted extra screen time while everything is weird. I said yes to both. Some lines can bend without breaking. Claire stopped by with lasagna, hugged the kids, hugged me longer. She and Anna didn't look at each other. If they had, something sharp might have flown. I took the kids out Saturday morning. Pancakes at Denny's. The boys drowned theirs in syrup and competed at who could stack bananas higher. Our daughter drew a cat with a speech bubble that said "Hi, I am okay," and I had to turn my face so she wouldn't see me wipe my eye. At the park afterward, a dad I knew from baseball asked how things were. I heard myself say, busy, and almost laughed. There are lies meant to protect. Then there are lies you tell because the truth would pour out of you and pool at your feet where any stranger could step in it. Sunday night, after bedtime, Anna knocked on the guest room door. Can we talk? She asked. We are talking, I said. In a real way, she said, coming in and shutting the door. She sat in the chair across from the bed. She looked tired. Maybe guilt was finally borrowing her face. I ended things with him, she said. I didn't move. When? Yesterday, she said. I told him it was a mistake. I told him I needed to fix my family. And what did he say, I asked, when the novelty wore off and you wanted your husband back? She flinched. That's not fair. Neither is any of this, I said. Tears finally came, catching her by surprise. She wiped them away angrily. I made a horrible mistake, she said. I know that. I'm not asking for easy forgiveness. I'm asking you to consider counseling. To consider 14 years. I did consider them, I said. I considered them while you were at the Lakeside Inn. I considered them while I made our kids' lunches and you sent him smiley faces from the gallery bathroom. I'm still considering them. They deserve better than a bandage over a gunshot. She closed her eyes and nodded. When she opened them, there was a steadiness that would have impressed me in any other context. If this is really the end, she said, then we will do it kindly. For them. We will not poison their memories. I agree, I said. They didn't ask for this. She took a breath. There's one more thing, she said. I'm scared. Of what? I asked, softer. Of being alone, she whispered. Of what people will think. Of losing mornings like pancake Saturdays. I wanted to say, you were never alone. I wanted to say, you didn't think about people when you thought about him. I wanted to say, you lost pancakes when you picked a motel. All I said was, I'm scared too. It was the closest we came to honesty together in months. Monday, I met the lawyer. He walked me through options. He used phrases like, primary residential parent and equitable division. He warned me not to weaponize the affair in front of the kids. I told him I wouldn't. He believed me. Papers were drafted. Dates were circled. A timeline began. At night, when the house finally fell quiet, I learned the new ritual of grief: gather the letters of your life, hold them up to the light, see which ones are still yours to keep. I found old ticket stubs in a bowl on the dresser, a photo strip from a booth at the fair, a grocery list in her handwriting that said milk, apples, oregano, Mark's favorite cereal because the kids will just eat his if I don't hide it. I cried over a grocery list. Then I laughed at myself for crying over a grocery list. Then I cried again. Through all of it, the kids were my north. Homework at the table. Soccer practice. A science fair volcano that erupted too hard and stained the ceiling. Bedtime stories where heroes get lost and find their way back with breadcrumbs and stubbornness. One night, my eldest asked, "Are you and Mom mad at each other?" I looked at his quick, anxious eyes and made my mouth move carefully. "We're sad," I said. "We're trying to figure out a new way to be a family that keeps you safe and loved." "Are you getting divorced?" The word hung there like a heavy coat. "We're working through some hard things," I said, which was true and also a shield. "Okay," he said, "not okay." After he went to bed, I stood in the hallway with my forehead against the wall and breathed until the ache loosened its fist. The gallery called me once. The owner, a man with a soft voice, asked if I wanted to discuss the situation. I said I had nothing to discuss with him. He said he was sorry. Maybe he was. Maybe he was sorry his assistant had blown up his neat little schedules and donor lists. I didn't care. Dylan texted me exactly once. A number I didn't know lit up my phone with a message that said, "I'm sorry, man. It happened fast. We didn't mean to hurt you." I stared at it until the letters blurred. Then I deleted it. There are some apologies that are really bids for absolution, and I had none to give. In the middle of that week, Claire stopped me in the driveway when she dropped off a casserole. She hugged me, held me at arm's length, and said, "Don't forget you're allowed to be angry." "I'm trying not to be a tornado," I said. "Be a storm over the ocean," she said. "Loud as you want. Just don't flood the town." At night, when I couldn't sleep, I would walk through the rooms and touch the shoulder of the life I was leaving, the dent in the couch cushion where our little one likes to sit, the chip in the banister from the time the boys decided laundry baskets were sleds, the indentation in the mattress on my side of the bed, proof of years of sleeping, dreaming, holding. I would tell myself that love can be true and end. That both can be true at once, and your lungs can learn that paradox without forgetting how to move. One evening, I found a sketch our daughter had made of our family. 5 stick figures. Mom, Dad, 2 taller boys, 1 small girl. Above them, a crooked heart. She'd drawn a thin line between Mom and Dad, a line that wasn't there in earlier drawings. When I asked about it, she shrugged and said, "It's like a road. So you can visit each other when you're far." I kissed her hair and went into the bathroom and cried quietly into a towel because sometimes wisdom comes from a 6-year-old with felt pens. By the end of the second week, the house had new rules. No lying in front of the kids. No arguing in hallways. Logistics go on the fridge. Tears go in private or into a shoulder that volunteered. We were not friends and we were not enemies. We were co-parents trying not to bring a war into a nursery. I could feel something else stirring too, beneath the grief and the logistics, a thin, stubborn thread of self. I went for runs again. I fixed the sticky cabinet door that had annoyed us for months. I taught the boys how to scramble eggs without turning them into rubber. I showed our daughter how to braid a simple braid. It looked awful and she loved it. She said, "You'll get better," and I believed her. On a Thursday afternoon, I stood at the job site with my foreman, sun on my neck, sawdust in the air, and realized that for 6 full minutes I hadn't thought about Anna and Dylan or the inn or the way my life bent. For 6 full minutes, I had been a man at work, solving problems, making decisions, building something that would stand. I let myself have those 6 minutes without guilt. Then I put on my hard hat and kept going. A week later, Anna and I sat across from a mediator in a quiet office with tall plants and a desk that looked like it belonged in a magazine. We talked custody, holidays, child support. I said I wanted the kids most of the time. She said she wanted it 50-50. The mediator talked about stability, school schedules, best interests. I breathed. I spoke calmly. I didn't bring up the motel or the text. I kept the storm over the ocean. When we left, Anna walked to her car, then turned. "You're different," she said, almost bewildered. "I'm learning," I said. "Learning what?" "To live with what I can't change," I said. "To protect what I can." She nodded once, slowly. "You've always been good at building things." "I'm starting over," I said. She opened her mouth like she might say I'm sorry. Then she closed it and drove away. That night, after the kids were asleep, I stood alone on the back porch, the air cool, the neighborhood quiet. A train horn blew somewhere far off. I thought about the man who walked into our bedroom 2 weeks ago and dropped a match. I thought about the man standing here now. They were both me. One shattered. One shaping the days that followed. I knew the road would still be long. Custody agreements, school events with 2 sets of grandparents, holidays divided into careful halves. I knew there would be moments when the kids would look at me with questions I couldn't answer in words that didn't break them. But I also knew this: I would show up. I would make pancakes. I would sit in the front row at school plays and clap too loud. I would teach my sons how to fix a leaky faucet and my daughter how to patch a bike tire and all of them how to trust their own eyes. And I would not let her mistake define me. The morning we told the kids, I thought I was prepared for their tears. I wasn't prepared for what our eldest said next, or for the message that buzzed my phone before dinner, a message that would set the course for everything that followed. The morning came like any other. Cereal bowls clinking. The boys bickering about who got the last of the milk. Our daughter sitting cross-legged on a chair, still half asleep, hair sticking up like she'd wrestled with her pillow all night. Except it wasn't like any other morning. Because today was the day we'd tell them. I'd rehearsed it in my head 100 times. Calm voice. Simple words. Nothing they could mistake for them being the cause of this. I told myself I was ready. I wasn't. Anna and I had agreed to do it together, even though the thought of sitting side by side made my stomach knot. We waited until they'd finished breakfast, then told them to come into the living room. Our eldest, Matthew, frowned immediately. Are we in trouble? No, I said. You're not in trouble. We just need to talk about something important. They sat. Anna folded her hands in her lap. I could feel her forcing herself to look steady, like if she showed any crack the whole thing would fall apart. I started. Mom and we've been having some problems. Grown-up problems. And we've decided we're not going to live together anymore. Our middle child, Aaron, blinked. Like, you're getting divorced? The word felt like a hammer in the room. Yes, I said, keeping my voice even. We'll still both be your parents. We'll still love you just the same. But we'll be living in different houses. Our daughter's lip trembled. Will we still have pancakes on Saturdays? Yes, I said, smiling at her. Absolutely. Pancakes don't change. Then Matthew spoke. He wasn't crying. He wasn't even looking at Anna. He was looking at me, sharp and steady. Is this because Mom was with that guy from her work? The air left the room. Anna's face went white. I managed to keep my voice calm. Where did you hear that? Logan's mom, he said simply. She told him, and he told me. She said she saw Mom at a restaurant with him. Said they looked like more than friends. Anna's mouth opened, but I cut in before she could speak. What matters is this: your mom and I are making decisions that are about us, not you. Okay? Matthew shrugged, but the way he looked at Anna told me more than I wanted to see. A boy's trust doesn't shatter easily, but when it does, the sound is deafening. When they went to school, Anna turned to me, eyes blazing. You couldn't defend me? In front of them? I'm done defending lies, I said. That afternoon, as I was fixing a cabinet door in the kitchen, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message read. I know what Anna did. And I think you should see this. There was a video attached. I didn't open it right away. I just stared at the notification, feeling my pulse in my fingertips. When I finally tapped it, the screen filled with shaky footage from what looked like a phone camera. It was Anna. Laughing. Sitting across from Dylan in a booth at some restaurant I didn't recognize. His hand was on hers, and she wasn't pulling away. The angle suggested whoever filmed it had been in the next booth. The message came through again. I can get you more. Call me. I didn't know whether it was revenge, kindness, or both. But I knew one thing. Whatever came next, the quiet divorce Anna wanted wasn't going to happen. When I called the number, I had no idea that the voice on the other end would be the last person Anna ever wanted me talking to, and that what they told me would burn the last bridge between us to ash. I stared at the phone for a long time before calling. The number sat there on the screen like a live wire, daring me to touch it. When I finally hit call, it rang twice before a woman's voice answered. You got the video? Yes, I said cautiously. Who is this? My name's Rachel, she said. I'm Dylan's girlfriend, or I guess ex-girlfriend now. That stopped me. I didn't know he had. Yeah, she cut in. Neither did you. Neither did she, I'm guessing. Her voice was steady, but there was steel under it. I've known about Anna for a while, Rachel said. But I figured it was a fling. Dylan has a history of thinking the grass is greener, then coming back when it's not. This time, though. I'm done. And I want you to know exactly what your wife's been doing. She went on to explain that she'd found messages between Dylan and Anna months ago. She confronted him, he denied it, then she caught them leaving a motel together. That video I got? She'd taken it last week, after following him to a restaurant. Why send it to me now? I asked. Because I'm tired of protecting someone who wouldn't cross the street to save me if I was bleeding, she said flatly. And because I think you deserve better than whatever story she's been feeding you. There was a pause. I've got more. Screenshots, voice notes, even a couple of photos from his phone. They're yours if you want them. I want them, I said without hesitation. Over the next hour, Rachel sent me everything. Texts where Anna called me boring and predictable. Plans to meet during late shifts. Inside jokes at my expense. And, worst of all, a voice memo of Anna telling Dylan she couldn't wait until the divorce was final, so they could start fresh without sneaking around. The venom in her voice when she spoke about me was something I'll never forget. It wasn't just betrayal, it was contempt. That night, when Anna came to drop the kids off, I was waiting. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I just set my phone on the counter and pressed play on the voice memo. She froze halfway into the kitchen. When her own voice filled the room, her face went red, then pale. Where did you get that? She asked, barely above a whisper. From the woman who thought she was his girlfriend, I said. Turns out, you're not the only one he's been lying to. Her jaw tightened. She's lying. She sent me the video. And the texts. And the photos, I said, cutting her off. You can't talk your way out of this anymore. For the first time, I saw something crack in her. Not guilt. Not shame. Fear. You don't have to show anyone, she said quickly. We can still. I'm not keeping your secret, I said. Not for you, not for him. This ends now. The next morning, my lawyer had everything Rachel had sent. By the afternoon, the custody agreement I'd been warned could take months was suddenly moving faster. The evidence didn't just tilt the scales, it slammed them down. Anna fought, of course. She wanted half custody. She wanted to protect her reputation. But with what Rachel gave me, the judge saw a pattern, and it wasn't in her favor. 2 weeks later, Dylan was gone from the gallery. I heard through the grapevine that Rachel had sent the same evidence to his boss. Fired on the spot. Anna? She was stuck in the same town, whispers following her like a shadow she couldn't outrun. Friends stopped calling. Even her own parents were taking a step back to process. And me? I was busy with the kids. Homework, soccer games, bedtime stories. Our house was quieter without her, but it was a good quiet. A healing quiet. The last time I saw Anna face to face, she was a shell of the woman I married. And when she told me what her life had become since we split, I realized life had already punished her more than I ever could. It had been almost 8 months since the divorce was finalized when I saw her again. Not at a school event. Not by chance at the grocery store. She called me. Her voice was small, almost unrecognizable. Mark, can we meet? Just for a few minutes. Please. I could have said no. Part of me wanted to. But the father in me, the part that knew our kids still loved their mother, said yes. We met at a little coffee shop on the edge of town. She was already there when I walked in, sitting by the window. Anna had always been beautiful. Even in our worst moments, she carried herself with a certain grace. But the woman in front of me looked worn. Tired eyes. Hair pulled back like she hadn't cared enough to style it. Hands wrapped around a coffee cup she hadn't touched. Thanks for coming, she said quietly. I sat down across from her. What's this about? She hesitated. I wanted to tell you. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything. I thought I was chasing something better, she continued, voice trembling. Dylan left a month after the divorce was final. Said I was too complicated. I found out he was seeing someone else the whole time. Younger. No kids. No baggage. I could hear the bitterness in her voice. I lost the gallery job, she went on. Word got around. People stopped trusting me. My parents, they still talk to me, but it's not the same. Most of my friends won't even meet me for lunch anymore. I'm renting a small apartment I can barely afford. And the worst part. Her voice cracked. The worst part is that the kids don't look at me the same way. I can feel it. I'm their mom, but I'm not their safe place anymore. She was crying now, shoulders shaking. I waited until she calmed down before I spoke. You made choices, Anna. Choices that hurt all of us. I can't change that, and neither can you. But you can decide what kind of mother you want to be from here on. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Do you hate me? I thought about it. No. I don't have the energy to hate you. But I don't trust you. And I probably never will. Her lip trembled. I deserve that. We parted without a hug. No dramatic goodbye. Just a quiet, tired understanding that whatever we'd once had was gone for good. Life after her wasn't perfect, but it was real. The kids and I settled into our own rhythm. Mornings with mismatched socks and burned toast. Evenings full of homework at the table, laughter during board games, and movie nights with popcorn spilling onto the couch. The house felt lighter. Warmer. Not because she was gone, but because the lies were. Every so often, I'd see Anna from a distance, picking up the kids, walking alone to her car. She looked smaller somehow, like life had taken the shine she once had and left her with nothing but the consequences of her choices. I never gloated. I didn't need to. Life had already punished her in ways I never could. One night, as I tucked our daughter into bed, she smiled sleepily and said, "Daddy, you're my favorite person." And in that moment, I knew something with absolute certainty. I hadn't lost everything. I'd kept the part that mattered most. The kids were happy. I was happy. And Anna? She had nothing left but regret.